Ministering Angels by Lori A. Thompson. Chapter 37, Joe's Awakening. Out of excitement, Cameron yells out spurts of information to Joe as he runs. "The holes are just wanting," Cameron blurts out. "What?" Joe yells back. Joe begins to run faster, changing his lagging pace so he can get closer and hear better. "They want," Cameron repeats. "Yeah, okay." Joe hears him, but he doesn't make much sense of Cameron's insight. Cameron stops abruptly, and with heavy breathing, he tries to explain further. "They are wanting, that's it. That is all they are. The only way they can experience anything on this island is through us. The only things they can experience are the things they want," Cameron says, sucking in air between words. Joe listens with a perplexed face, fighting off his instinct to distrust the youngest boys trying to tell him things he doesn't know. "How do you know about the holes?" Joe asks. "I can feel them," Cameron says. "Can you see them?" Joe continues to question. "No, but I've learned a lot about them," Cameron says quickly, then kicks up his feet, jumps the log, and begins running again. It appears to Brad that Nathan's pain has only increased. Jacob hovers over Nathan, moving his hands up and down his body. The smell that hung in the air is familiar, reminding Brad of Jacob's healing work with Malachi. This time, however, Nathan's body doesn't seem to be responding to Jacob's efforts. Brad sits down on the end of the bed, making sure he isn't getting in Jacob's way. Brad notices something in Nathan's hand. His hand clasps the strings of a pouch. When Brad reaches for it, he notices another hand swept over his, attempting to retrieve the pouch from Nathan's clutch. Nathan eases his hold, allowing Brad to have the pouch without any resistance. Brad realizes quickly that it was Dan's hand that went for the pouch. Brad can't keep back the laugh that belts out of him uncontrollably, nor did he want to. The tension of the situation is released as he laughs harder and harder. Brad flips the pouch up in the air by its leather straps. As it lands in his hand, he laughs a bit more. "Who do you think you are?" Brad states firmly, looking down at his hand. Chuckling once again to himself, Brad is truly humored by Dan's ignorance. "Really, Dan? You thought you could just grab this out of Nathan's hand?" Brad stands and confronts Dan. "Really? What else does Dan think he's capable of? Brad says sarcastically. "I have Cameron, and I'm gonna have Nathan too," Dan replies in anger. "Have them? You'll have them? Really? What exactly do you have?" Brad pronounces. "They do as I will them to," Dan proclaims. Right. You're the controller and they're just your puppet. Is that it?" Brad suggests. "Don't mock me, Brad," argues Dan. "He is clearly denying you. Let him go," demands Brad. "Why?" asks Dan. "You're causing him pain. He's sick because of you. He's sick because he's resisting you. His answer to your request is no," Brad explains. "His sickness is of his own choosing. If he would just let go and submit himself, he wouldn't only feel well, he would feel amazing. He just doesn't know it because he's being so stubborn," Dan states. "His answer is no. You need to let him be." "Nathan wants more. I'm just giving him what he wants. I'm only willing upon him what he has already asked for. The more that he wants is not in your ability to give. Your illusion of power is great. There is no illusion. Just look at Cameron and those boys downstairs. They are what they are because of me. What have you been doing with Cameron? Teaching him what he wants to know. He yearns to be with me and my boys, helping others. I do more than you ever thought of doing," Dan remarks with pride. "What Cameron chooses will be up to him, but he will get information from both sides, Dan. Cameron has already compared. He has chosen a life of service." Service? You call this service?" pointing to Nathan. "I told you it is his own fault he's sick. You mentioned your boys. Where are they now? Why aren't they with you here? Why aren't they here serving you now? Dan looks at the door and then back at Brad with a troubled look on his face. I know we talked about bringing them up from the caverns, but he only mentioned the people being in the caverns, not where we could find them. We could end up wandering these caverns forever, Joshua expresses his concern to Aiden. I know how to find them, Andrew speaks up, skirting himself into their conversation. Well, come on then, let's go. Without hesitation, Joshua allows Andrew to lead the way. Cameron breaks through the treed area, and without pausing, he starts throwing tree branches into the fire pit. When Joe steps into the cleared area, it is as if he has stepped out of his own skin and into another's. He no longer wears the armor that shielded him from others, which inhibited his ability for movement and growth. His internal screen thins and then layers with a new perspective. Joe doesn't react in fear as someone who scrambles for familiar ground. He effortlessly adapts to his presented reality. Joe had always tapped into his own mind for stored information of his past and present, personal occurrences of his life. Yet now what flows through his senses challenges what he has always considered a reliable resource. His eyes are captivated by visions of a lively fire, surrounded by playful boys. His ears fill with echoes of rolling laughter. His nose smells the roasted pig, which is enjoyed by all. His perspective absorbs a full expression of an easy life. Stripped of resistance, Joe is passively experiencing events he is drawn to view the past. Oh crap, they're here. Cameron perks up from the small fire he has started. Joe hears Cameron, but his body holds a sensation of floating, which keeps him from being able to respond. He knows something is of crucial importance to Cameron, yet Joe can't grasp the sense of urgency. Cameron begins fanning the flame, unaware of Joe's current state. Cameron expects Joe is alert and available. I don't get it. Why are they here? I haven't done anything yet. Cameron is overwhelmed with the unexpected visit by the holes. Cameron's tendency to get anxious under pressure is subsided by Joe's presence. Joe's character of maintaining a strong, consistent, steady pace when faced with extreme difficulty is an embedded impression in Cameron's mind. His stance is all that is needed to trigger Cameron's focused attention. Brad sits back down on the bed, opens the pouch, and lets the contents settle into his hand. Jacob's increased interest causes him to shift his focus from Nathan to the stone Brad is now holding. Can I see that? Jacob asks as he reaches out his palm to receive the stone. Brad hands it to Jacob, and Jacob immediately begins running his thumb over the mark etched into the stone. Since Joshua found the stone, Nathan has had a special interest in it. His fascination for the stone is compounded by that mystery mark, Brad states, pointing to the stone in Jacob's hand. You don't know what it is? Jacob remarks, perplexed. Well, no. Many of the boys have taken a look at it and no one has been able to identify it. Brad, it's a star. Without hesitation, Jacob reveals the mark and returns the stone to Brad's hand. A star? A star, Dan repeats, then disappears. Brad looks down at the stone in his hand, then clasps it tight. I'm not really sure what that meant to Dan, but we should get out of here while we have the chance, Brad said to Jacob. Dan stands before the fire, watching on as Cameron stokes it with small branches and twigs. Dan draws closer to Cameron, leaning into his person to radiate his desires close to Cameron's reaching. Cameron takes a strong branch from the fire and begins drawing in the dirt off to the side. The image that flashes before Cameron's eyes is unfolding as a draft on the ground. Cameron finally gains Joe's attention when the flames from the star shoot up from the ground. The spectacle of light seems to enhance what Joe is feeling inside. Joe is experiencing something beyond the island, trying to hold on to the feeling. Joe gazes into the fire and lets the flames direct his focus. You're sure you saw that right, Andrew? I mean, how did you see things in that fountain? How can you see things in the water? Kenny questions. He has to speak up so Andrew can hear, since he is positioned at the tail end of the group. Kenny doesn't appreciate Andrew's lack of response. He picks up his pace, makes his way to the front. Kenny keeps in step with Andrew as he continues to try to align his thinking with Andrew. Andrew, we have been walking pretty quickly in the same direction for some time, and we haven't seen anything. Kenny pauses, waiting for a reply. What are we even looking for? Why won't you tell us what you saw in that fountain? Questions Kenny once again, then pauses again, attempting to collect his thoughts. Andrew, tell me something. There has got to be something that tells you we're going in the right direction. A loud cranking sound echoes from the walls of the cavern, which makes a few of the boys jerk. Andrew jumps from the unexpected noise, but never slows his pace. Still keeping up with Andrew, Kenny looks around about him, searching for the source of the sound. A loud, deep groan resonating from deep within the rock has Kenny imagining something is going to break through the solid walls of the cavern. That's how I know I'm going in the right direction, Andrew states. I know I should trust you, Andrew, but what is that noise, And did you notice, Andrew, it has been getting darker and darker. Kenny can see that the clusters of light that once revealed their path before them have diminished. The next few steps reveal Kenny's fear. Only a glow from behind them guide their feet. Andrew continues forward until no light remains. Andrew stops and stands in the complete darkness. Andrew! Andrew! Kenny's voice echoes off the cavern walls as he continues to question their quest. Boys! Yells Andrew into the dark. They stand in silence for a moment, and then Andrew yells again. Let's move! Forward they march, leaving Kenny behind, frozen in wonder, as he watches the cave illuminate around them. Only a few feet in front of the group is displayed with the light offered from above and the sides of the cave. Kenny notices the extreme contrast between the black of the cave, which holds the surroundings in the unknown, and the white portion which reflects every detail of the cave to be seen. His hesitancy to forge forward with the group is a foreign perspective for Kenny. At that moment of questioning, Kenny's mind recalls a particular hunt. It is raining, and Kenny has crouched behind a small shrub to mask his presence. He was motioned to move. It was his quick step that reminded Kenny of his desire to be an active participant. Another memory pointed to a moment when it was Kenny's accurate arrow shot that took down a huge snake clinging to a tree branch up in a tree. He smiles as he recalls the joy of reaping the rewards of his efforts. Kenny's internal plea to understand exposes his separation from the boys. Kenny longs to belong to the group that leads the way. When he finally catches up to the group, he decides to never fall behind again. I need to go help Cameron, states Brad. Jacob grabs Brad's arm as he begins to stand up. Brad, your help is needed elsewhere. Cameron's fate is set. Let him finish what he set out to do. Jacob, I don't know what that is. I know, neither do I. Trust it, anyway. It feels like I'm leaving him behind, Brad explains, frustrated. Brad, sometimes the help we receive doesn't always produce the outcome we would choose. Everyone has to carve their own way. There are times when we have to just let that happen. Brad feels a vibration move up his body, which is strong enough for Jacob to feel on the bed. They look at each other as their separate realizations reflect on their faces. The fear revealed on Jacob's face settles Brad's mind as he understands his decisions from here on out are going to be much easier to make. Jacob, I will tend to Nathan from here on out. I need you to help the rest of the boys get to the other island. Jacob hugs Brad in silence and leaves. End of chapter 37.